Government could pay people to wire these fences shut, but can't afford to keep a program critical to kids open? Just who's making these decisions? The judge knows. And he's next. Well, the Amber Alert site is back up, but not before the government blamed the shutdown for taking it offline over the weekend. Which got me thinking, is the government off its rocker? Because look what it is funding. It's paying people to wire fences shut around the World War II memorial and put cones along roads where Mount Rushmore can be seen. God forbid you should be able to just see it. To the judge on just who is making these decisions and maybe why. Judge, what the heck?
Well, look, the president is probably not making the personal decisions about where cones should go, but he certainly is instructing the executive branch about the nature of things that should be closed. He has the discretion to take the money that the government has and spend it to deliver the greatest number of services to the largest number of people. Instead, he seems to be trying to cause the greatest discomfort to the largest number of people and blame it on those terrible Republicans.
Is it arbitrary? I mean, is it the executive branch that calls these shots?
Yes, it's exactly the executive branch that calls these shots. The Congress isn't closed and the courts aren't closed. It's the executive branch that is closed, and the president runs the executive branch, and he can say how money's going to be spent. Now, the essential parts of the government are open, which means debt is being paid, transfer payments, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security is being paid, and defense is being paid. Everything else, and there's not much left with the money that he has before they start borrowing, is entirely and exclusively up to him.
So this is like the last time when they had the sequestration cuts and they were cutting off White House visits.
Yes, the last time he predicted life will be unlike anything you've known if the sequestration cuts in. And he tried to make life miserable, and it went back to normal. He's trying to do the same thing now. And when the media catches him, like you did with the Amber Alert, suddenly they found the money to put it back on the screen.
But I'm just thinking of the expense, Judge, of just putting up fencing and barbed wire around some areas. It's got to be more than just leaving them up and running.
I don't know why the federal workforce doesn't work anyway, because the House of Representatives passed, and the president says he will sign legislation providing for back pay for all executive branch workers. So if you work this week...
get your heinies into work.
Right. You might not get paid for this week until 2 weeks from now, but you'll eventually get paid. So come to work, operate the government you say you love and you say is so necessary for our existence. He won't have anything to do with that.
Amazing. By the way, the judge has not been on a hunger strike with this government shutdown. You are so you are just melting away.
Let's go have a pizza.
Please, my goodness, you look great. Judge, thank you. In the meantime, to Ed Henry, who asked the White House today about claims that it's picking and choosing exactly what is shut down. Ed, what did you find out?
Well, Neil, in particular, I was pressing Jay Carney about the fact that, as you were just talking about, not just the World War II memorial that had been shut down and then sort of partially reopened for veterans who had already had plans to come in. The Amber Alert website had been shut down briefly over the weekend. This led to questions among Republicans about whether the White House was picking and choosing vital services to shut down that they were not deeming essential to maybe make it more painful for Republicans, put more pressure on Congress to reopen the government. Jay Carney denied that, said they're not picking and choosing things to make it more politically difficult for Republicans. And he also stressed that in the case of the Amber Alert system, the website was down, it was brought back up, but he stressed that the actual system of alerting the public that children were missing, it was never down. So the website might have been down, but the system itself, thankfully, was not down. Here's the bottom line. As you've been laying out for the last 20 minutes, I've been watching, and there is a lot of bad news about how both sides are far apart. But I will tell you there was a tiny bit of breakthrough today in that Jay Carney and other White House officials are saying really for the first time that the president might sign a short-term legislation to extend the debt ceiling maybe just by a few weeks, not a full year as Harry Reid is pushing, maybe reopen the government for a few weeks as well. Why? In order to sort of create the time and space for broader budget negotiations to move forward. Now, maybe those negotiations would never move forward, but the point is they've had this hard line about a year-long extension of the debt ceiling, no strings attached. They're now saying maybe they would take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, extend the debt ceiling, get the government back open, and then they'd sit down for broader budget negotiations. We'll see if that goes anywhere, Neil.
You've been great through this, Ed. Thank you very much. Ed Henry at the White House trying to make sense of it all. Well,